doing that one.
Well, let's go ahead and jump in. First of all, thanks for joining us this morning. I am going to do my best here this morning to keep things rolling. Sorry we couldn't meet in person. You know, the Kowanda Community Center is repaving their parking lot. We wouldn't have any place to park, so we had to move to the this virtual setting. Hopefully we can get back to normal again very soon. I think there will probably be a special meeting coming up before the next quarterly meeting in August, and so hopefully we can get together for that as well. So I'm doing the best I can. I'm actually in a hotel room, all right, and I'm doing solo here. So I'm doing some business, and I don't have my able assistant, my wife Tina, helping me out. So you're going to have to bear with me in this technology. As you know, I don't do these on a regular basis. So you know, we will do our best to be able to recognize people. I know that's very difficult. I've got chat set up so that we can, you know, also take a look at any questions that may come in as well. To begin, you know, I'll just start out. You know, my name's Bob Papke. I'm the chair of the PC Woods CAC, and joining me today is Kimberly Miller, who is our vice chair, and Sarah Absher, who is the director of community development for Tillamook County, is also going to be joining us. I think she said maybe a little bit late. I'm not sure. Are you there yet, Sarah? Not yet. Okay. She said she might be a few minutes late. All right. Normally we would do the self-introductions, but you're going to have to use your screen to see who all is here and joining us today. So I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. From a housekeeping issue.
Here they are.
Oh,
because raisins are bad.
Let's unmute you. Let's go ahead and housekeeping issues. Yeah, please come in and stay muted unless called upon. All right, to speak, just because we do have a large group. And again, I'll do my best to check that chat area for any other questions. Previous meetings. Next up is the previous meetings. As the ad hoc secretary, I could just say that the previous minutes were uploaded to the website. So it is on pcwoodscac.org. And that was the one, again, from the February meeting that we had with, especially on the Kowanda corridor projects. Are there any comments or questions to the minutes that were uploaded? I don't see any hands per se. Can I get, I've got a lot of people who, how about the people who have their video? Can I get a show of hands of approving the minutes from February? Everybody? Yes. Thank you very much. Okay, so the motion has passed. Moving on to old business. The executive board, as you know, has 3 positions and 2 are filled with the chair and vice chair. We still have an opening for the secretary. If you'd like to move forward and step forward, we would love to have you join us and give us some helping hand here in keeping this group moving forward. Next item of old business is the updated PC Woods CAC bylaws. Those were communicated at the last meeting and uploaded again to the website back in February, looking for any comments and or corrections. Ann Price, Kimberly, and myself had put together and updated the bylaws. They were quite old and they needed to be revised. To recap, you know, what we added was the voting policy to make sure that you're registered with the group when you go to vote. As well as incorporating these in-person and virtual voting, how we're going to do that in the future, making sure that we have the acceptable size for committees and acceptable communications going forward. Do I have any corrections or comments to the updated bylaws at all? No? Okay. May I get a show of hands for the approval of the updated bylaws?
Hey, Bob,
Yes.
there is a reactions down below on everybody's screen.
Let's take a look.
If you
Let me go to the chat.
click on the reactions, you can also raise your hand or show your hand
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah.
to vote.
Very
Okay.
good. All right. Thank you. All right. And then I got chat. They look good. Okay. All right. Again, real quick, just a show of hands approving the bylaws, please. Thank you very much. Okay, they're approved, and we'll start implementing them ASAP. All right, on the new business, next up is some of the PC Woods CAC land use items. As you know, Larry, Barb, Deborah, and Bud are part of the committee along with myself and Kimberly. Known land items, land use items being considered by Tillamook County were updated. I put those up on the website. So now you can go, they have the Tillamook County actually updated their website recently, and it really made it a lot easier to find things. And especially if you go to community development and land use applications and things, they even have a situation where they have a map, all right, of Pacific City, and dots associated with the specific applications, so that you can click on that, pull up a link to the application and ultimately the approval. So it keeps track of the process. And if there is an appeal, there's a document attached for the appeal and what have you. But really makes a big difference to be able to track what's going on. Some of the land use items I just highlighted real quick, and if I miss anything, I'll ask Larry, who is the chair, to chime in. But first one was the Kowanda corridor project and its use of the Jensen property and Webb Park and things. Rachel Haggerty, who is the Tillamook County project manager, is on vacation. She actually took my call yesterday while on vacation down in Huntington Beach there, and I was asking her for an update on where do we stand on the project. As you know, we had the open house on April 16th, which I thought was really well attended. We had a lot of people there. They broke off into groups, and people commented on the proposed diagrams. And then they also put it out there for comments and feedback from the community. We wound up with about 200, I guess they did. They wound up with about 270 residences and 30 businesses that did go online and make their thoughts known and their comments known. As I understand it, from what Rachel told me, that those were summarized. And the drawings were updated based on the feedback, according to them. They then met with the steering committee in May, early May, and the steering committee selected the preferred alternatives for each section. These alternatives then were sent to the consultants who compiled the information and have come back and are doing their final take on what they call selected alternatives. Rachel tells me that these alternatives will be shared with the key stakeholders. Well, I'm not sure who those are, and the commissioners. And then the final drawings will be presented in mid-July to the public. So if you have any more last minute comments, I'd fire them all in there. Don't know if they'll get incorporated. Hopefully they do. But as I understand it, we're thinking mid-July that they will come back with the preferred alternatives. Rachel tells me that phase 1 budget has been approved, so that the money has been allocated, and they are also applying for government grants and what have you to pull some additional monies into the project. So hopefully, mid-July, we get to see what the final alternatives are. And then the county's fiscal year begins June 22nd, it runs from June to May. So June of 2022 to May of 2023 is their current budget. And as I mentioned, phase 1 is in there. I asked what phase 1 is, and it has yet to be determined. But they said that they will be communicating that shortly. We'll see. There was, if you didn't get a chance, so a couple things on the website there. First of all, if you go to that tillamookcoast.com/South County, you can pull up the Kowanda Corridor project again and see the website that they created on the project. And then again, yesterday I received the a survey results link from Brooke Wintergreen, who is the destination manager for South Tillamook County. She just sent out the survey results. I haven't had a chance to completely digest that, but I will add that link and hopefully that document, if I can, to our website, the pcwoodscac.org. So pcwoodscac.org is where you should be going to get some additional information on any of these projects. So that is what I know. Let's take a look here. Somebody's in chat saying the Kowanda Corridor has community survey summary posted now, well worth members viewing. I agree. Thanks, Ann. All right, next up, Kingfisher Apartments. As we all know, the final permit was approved by the county, so they can begin to develop that wonderful project. I'm being facetious myself, I'm sorry. Fourplex, there was a fourplex approved on Bruton Road by the county. That too is linked to the website. If you want to go on our website or go on Tillamook County, you can pull up the details on that. The big one is the Treehouse Partners proposed campground in Tierra del Mar. There has been a lot of things going on with that. Obviously, there was an appeal, and that appeal has been postponed until June 1st. But this project, it's right off of Floyd Avenue. It's the Oregon Treehouse Partners LLC, and they look for a conditional use for a 19-site recreational campground on approximately 18 acres. So they're looking to develop a campground there. It was approved by the county, and there has now been an appeal, a notice of appeal, and that hearing is now scheduled for June 1st. So just want to give you a heads up there.
Hey, Bob.
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
Larry Rouse has his hand up.
Yeah, all right, yeah, I love that. Yeah, is that you, Larry? No, I got one. Okay, Larry, where are you? There you are. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good, good. I want to regress a little bit on your vote for the bylaw update. I have a couple of comments on that.
Okay.
One is a procedure. You asked people that were in favor of it to vote, and then it passed, but you didn't ask for anybody that was going to vote against it, nor did you ask for anybody that wanted to abstain.
Okay.
And I think the bylaws are a pretty important function as how our group operates.
Sure.
And so I would request that this be held over to an in-person meeting. I'm not a big Zoom fan. I don't think people participate as much as they do in live situations. So I would ask that you set aside the vote and hold it till we have a live meeting and have some paper copies for people to look at. Not everybody downloads all those things off the off the net to read and analyze them. And so I guess I would make a request that you consider my my request to have it held over to our next in live meeting. I understand what happened today. When those guys want to pave, when it's not raining, you can't slow them down. So, but I would request that we hold that for our next meeting and have a paper copy for people to look at. So it's on your
Yeah,
desk.
trust me, I would have loved to, and I had, would have loved to have been able to hand out copies and meet in person. That obviously was the goal for today, but this came up. The other thing, and I'm fine with that, Larry. I mean, if we want to do that, sure. I guess the only thing is what if, COVID kicks in some more and we can't meet in person, we keep pushing this down the road. That's why when we loaded it back up in February, all right, on the website there, then you could read it. We gave people 3 months to be able to comment on it. So, yeah, I mean, I agree they're important, and we spent a lot of time drafting that document and updating it. But I'm certainly understand. I would have preferred to have to meet in person. Right? So I guess we can certainly push it down the road if you'd like. I just would like to be able to implement some of these very needed changes coming up, especially in August when our next meeting is scheduled. We're going to have quite the agenda, because that's also our annual meeting and the election of new officers. So that's my comment on that. Anybody else? I could certainly. Unfortunately, what I've got is I'm looking at a screen, some faces and a lot of names, unfortunately. So, yeah. I'll put it, again, let's see if I can see everybody. I can see some. I can't see everybody on this. Again, I'm managing over 60 people here. All right, let's see. Like to take into consideration what Larry proposed. All right. Yes, Ann.
I completely agree, Larry. The bylaws are the foundational document of the organization. The original bylaws were very carefully crafted in working relationship with the Office of Community Development. I think what we have here personally is an overreaction to a temporary situation, that being pandemic caused. And I think the draft that we worked with in the very beginning of this revision process was largely taken from the Oceanside bylaws, which I don't personally believe was the correct approach. I think we should have started with our bylaws and looked to each section to see where
you were part of that, Ann. I mean, you were the chair of this bylaws committee, and you were part of that. And we made sure to try to incorporate.
Thank you, Bob. But I understand that. But the dynamic of how that process folded out, there were only 3 people. 2 of them were on the executive committee. And I feel as though there wasn't broad groups process engagement.
Mm-hmm.
And also, as we've acknowledged, given to the COVID processes we've been through, we've not been able to personally. I really do feel like this is a very important thing. And my last concern was shared on the agenda today. There was no indication that there would be a vote held for this. There was no reminder to the membership to.
Yes, there was actually in the email for the agenda. It was on the agenda for the email for the last week and a half.
It was on the agenda, but there was not on the agenda specifically referring to a vote to be taken. It was listed as an agenda item without advice to the membership that there would actually be a vote taken.
Mm-hmm.
And is a critical step.
Okay.
Process.
All right. I mean, I guess we can I hear you. I mean,
Okay, thank
I'm
you.
not
I
trying to
appreciate
ram
that.
this thing through. All right, we asked for participation in the bylaws, who wanted to be part of it. We had no one raise their hand to be part of that committee. So we proceeded with what we had. We incorporated as much as we could of the previous bylaws. And, you know, again, those bylaws were several years old. They were land use specific, and the community has been stating that they do want to get more information about what's going on, not specifically land use. And we did our best. I mean, again, you and I and Kimberly spent hours on this thing trying to make it work. So
I
you
think
know,
it's not a matter of the amount of time spent. I think it's a matter of the quality of the end product.
okay, I guess you should, I guess, you know, I would have liked you to have spoken up, and if there was an issue to go ahead and bring that up previously. That's good.
I did try to speak
Kimberly,
up on
can I,
several
Kimberly, go
occasions.
ahead. Kimberly, yes? Okay.
And I hear your concerns. I think that we have more participation when we are offering Zoom access as well as being in person. I
Right.
think that's going to be, you know, probably the choice of the future, particularly when we have so many second home owners here
Correct.
who aren't always here for the meetings. Also, the bylaws, I think that what we came together on was kind of a sort of an unhappy medium, kind of medium. Mostly though, I think the biggest concern is the ability to be able to vote online.
Mhm.
Now, can we refine that? Yeah, I think so. I think Bob maybe didn't really realize that he needed to ask for the nays. Okay. So, and then maybe we need to refine that a bit. But overall, I don't think we changed all that much. And I think if you would like us to look at that, then let's be specific, have you go back and say specifically which 2 or 3 things are there that you feel uncomfortable with.
I
Would
did
that be
several
okay?
times. I did that several times in the process of our meetings and exchanges of electronic
Yeah.
information, and I did
And I-
not feel as though the priorities I was putting forward for the organization were, how shall I say, supported by my.
I thought we addressed them. I thought we made the changes you asked
We
for.
discussed them, but we didn't.
I thought we did. I thought we documented it, pushed it back and forth, and
And made
came
the
up with-
changes that
came
you
up,
asked for, Ann.
you know,
We did, but for example, in the current draft of the bylaws, the committee structure is, in my humble opinion, all but dismantled because it places the majority of the responsibility and authority in the hands of the executive committee.
not at all, but that's okay. All right, let's do this. Let's do this. I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to argue anymore. We've got too much to go here, and we're done. Let's move forward. Okay. All right, Larry, I'll take your recommendation. All right. Let's go
And do the
through.
next meeting.
Let's let me see a vote of hands of those who approve the bylaws as stated and uploaded. Please raise your hand if you approve the bylaws currently. All right. Those who do not approve, I guess do this for right now. All right. Those who do not approve, 1, 2, 3. All right. I've got a majority approving the bylaws as is. So my
We've got a majority of people who didn't.
My recommendation would be then that if there is an issue, that we go ahead and submit another revision, and we can certainly revise the current ones. All right. All right, let's move on. Let's move on, please. We got a lot, and we got a lot to cover here. All right, let's go through. There's also on the recent land use items. There's going to be a dune management program that Sarah's been working on, and she will speak to this later. But there was also a land use item request for some dune grading there by the Pelican that was recently approved. So we'll have Sarah speak about that here shortly. Other developments, let's go on short-term rentals. That's been a really, really hot topic. All right. You've seen that both in Lincoln County, and really all over. All right. A number of cities are addressing what's going on with short-term rentals. And the county, as I understand it, has been working on it very diligently. There's been a significant increase in the permits already this year versus last year. You've seen the development along Pacific City, and also read about the recent restrictions implemented in Lincoln County and elsewhere. There is a draft order right now that's been submitted to the commissioners, who will be meeting this Wednesday to determine what Tillamook County's position is on short-term rentals. Again, you've got a lot of people on this webinar today who have short-term rentals, have second homes in Pacific City. How are they going to be impacted? And what about any kind of future purchases? So they're meeting on Wednesday to determine what to do. One of those positions would be potentially to pause any future short-term rental permit requests in Pacific City rather than stop them completely. So there's a number of things that the county is trying to address, because when you had Lincoln County obviously stop their process on short-term rentals, you saw a number of people start investing in other homes here in Pacific City and quickly turning around and applying for permits for short-term rentals. And gosh, I think, we've got a lot of them. They produce a lot of money for the county, but I don't think we want to get to the point where we're 95% short-term rentals. Sarah, are you on this call? Sarah? Hoping she mentioned she would be. Sarah, you there? No? Okay. I'll just recap. So basically Sarah was going to step in to talk about what they've gone through, what they've analyzed. What you have is you had, again, I think the numbers, if I remember, something like there was like, I don't know, 100, 190, 175 applications last year for short-term rentals in Tillamook County, or I don't know, already over 100 in a few short months here in 2022. So they dug in to try to figure out what they're going to do. So if you want to, you could certainly go on the website, Tillamook County website there, and take a look and follow what's going on. There's a separate tab called short-term rentals. And if you want, you can certainly attend I don't know if it's a commissioners only meeting or not, but on Wednesday, when they go to determine the final outcome for short-term rentals. What they have is an issue with people who recently purchased homes. So, and they're waiting for the homes to close in the next 30 or 45 days. But in the meantime, they've submitted and they bought the house specifically to become a short-term rental. They've submitted the permit, and they're waiting to hear back from the county. So the county has to do some kind of a cutoff, if you will, of, I don't know what it may be, if it's 45 days or 60 days, cut it off, and then put what's called a pause on any future new permits for short-term rentals. So as I understand it, and again, I'm sorry, Sarah's not here, the short-term rentals, anyone who has a short-term rental currently or a second home is not impacted. It would be on any future applications. Is that right? Sarah, is there with us by chance? I don't want to speak out of turn. All right, well, we'll have to keep on going. So just to give you a heads up there, a really hot subject. All right, as you can see, you drive down Cape Kowanda Drive, you saw a couple of new constructions going on, and they quickly turned that and applied for a short-term rental on it. Without even living in it first. So we got to keep our eye on that one as a community, I believe. The Dune management, they are taking review of the Dune management that takes place especially for the homes along the coast. Yes.
Bob, you've got some hands up and
Okay.
a couple things in the chat.
Okay, let's take a look. Thank you. Let's take a look. have a house. I know little about the plan preparation. I'm wondering if the planning firm who did the initial study has turned loose to do the designs. Plans are prepared in phases. Yes, I think he's going back to the Kowanda corridor project, and the answer is yes. I mean, they haven't given the feedback on the Kowanda corridor project, and are coming up with the next rendition of the plans. There's that. Who else? Larry, did I take your hand off? I don't know if I took your hand off. I don't. Do
No.
you have your hand up?
I'm up again.
Oh, you are. Okay.
Okay.
I don't know how to turn off the hand. I'm sorry.
Oh, I turn it off on my, when I'm done talking, I turn it
Oh,
off on my side.
Okay. All right.
So
Okay.
I'll lower my hand when I'm done, Bob.
All right. Thank you.
Good.
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to expand a little bit. You mentioned the Lincoln County short-term rental ban,
Yep.
which was a very divisive issue in Lincoln County. And it's now, of course, it's before the courts. Some homeowners down there that use short-term rentals have filed a lawsuit saying that this was an illegal seizure of property rights and other issues. So this is going to be settled in the courts. But theirs was interesting in that, first of all, it only affects short-term rentals that are outside of an incorporated city. So like inside Lincoln City, it doesn't affect them at all. It's only people outside of incorporated areas. And the other thing I thought that was interesting about, and this was a ballot measure that was put on the ballot, and it passed narrowly by the voters in Lincoln County. But the other thing is they've got a very, in my opinion, a very abrupt shutoff. In Lincoln County, from the time that vote was passed, you have 5 years in which your short-term rental permit will be permitted, and then at 5 years it is gone, not to be reissued.
Ever?
So,
Ever?
ever.
I thought there was a
Town hall meeting
sit out
down
for a
in
little
Civic
while.
City.
Yeah. What was that? Somebody said, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, somebody said something, but I didn't catch it. But no, it's going to be in 5 years, or the clock's already running, and within that 5-year window, when that permit, when at the end of 5 years,
Yep.
it is gone. It'd be illegal to have a short-term rental in non-incorporated areas in Lincoln County in 5 years. So a lot of folks that may have a 30-year mortgage and may have a hard 25 years that second half, but that's
Right.
what they did in Lincoln County. Where we go, nobody knows at this point, but Lincoln County was pretty abrupt.
You know, I sit in on the monthly CAC chair meeting for all of the CAC chairs in Tillamook County, and I'm listening to them. And this is an extremely hot issue. Manzanita, Oceanside, Nesquin, all of them have kind of used this as a real point of contention, right? And it's generated a lot of ill feeling, and people are worried about the number of short-term rentals and what's going on right now, and how it impacts our services and our communities and things like that. So a number of cities are battling this and trying to come up with a solution. So no, thanks for the update there, Larry, on Lincoln County and how that has impacted things. I know we've seen some people again invest in Pacific City who might have invested elsewhere for that purpose. Yep. No. Very good. Now, do you take your hand down, or how does that work?
I just did. My hand is gone.
No, okay. All right. Anybody else? Let's see.
Got it, dear.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sharon, is that somebody? Anybody? Yes.
I
Joel.
think,
Oh.
yeah,
Joel.
go ahead.
Big renew here is a short-term rental, is that required every year, or is that for a specific 3 years?
It gets renewed every year. All right. We own one. All right, and we paid. There was a $250 a year permit that we paid, and then they came up with what do they call it now? Some kind of an operational, short-term operational fee that they came up with last year. The county did to raise more money, and that fee is not light. It was $1,500. So I'm now paying $1,500 for an operational short-term fee. All right, on top of the 250. So it's been quite interesting how they're managing that. But it is every year. It is every
Currently,
year.
there's no limit on how many they can approve.
I'm sorry.
I said currently, is there no limit on how many people can apply?
Currently, there hasn't been a limit. There hasn't been a cap, and but the numbers have been increasing the last couple of years, as I understand it.
Okay, sorry, last question. How many permits are there actually out there right now?
Boy, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. I wish Sarah was here to tell you. They did a study of Tillamook County, all up and down the coast, and the numbers of short-term rentals. So I'm not quite sure.
Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions at all? Anybody? Let me move the other screen to see if I can see somebody raising their hand. No, I don't see anything else. Okay.
Bob, I think there was a question in the chat again by Sunny.
All right, where is that, Sunny? Let me take a look. Sunny, I was wondering if the application process for short-term rentals is a rubber stamp, or is there a pause that the application that are submitted are also paused, meaning short-term rentals? I don't think it's a rubber stamp. They have some criteria, all right, that needs to be met, all right, before they issue the short-term rental. They also, I believe, visit the site and things and make sure that it's safe and whatnot before they ultimately issue the permit. But it's not just a rubber stamp, so to speak. There is some steps involved in it. I hope that answered the question. All right. Very good. I will move on. The Dune management program, Sarah was going to talk about that as well. That's where they take segments of the coastline. So it's 10 houses kind of in a block, and then another 10 houses and another 10 houses, and then they have the Cape there. And there's a lot of layers of government agencies from FEMA to you name it, all right, that are involved in creating the guidelines for the grading of the dune, the pushing back of the sand, all right, that builds up over time. And I know that they are in the process also of reviewing that dune management program in lieu of some of the most recent guidelines that are coming down. It's getting more and more bureaucracy is landing on that very important process and program. And, obviously we are very impacted by that, especially if you have homes along the coast there. So there is efforts being made on that. And again, I think you can pick up some of the feedback from the commissioners and a few other things on the website. If not, we can certainly have Sarah join us again next time. Let's take a look. What else? There is a PC Woods Tsunami Wayfinding project. The final approvals for the signage and locations have been approved, as I understand, and we should start seeing the tsunami wave signs begin to be put up here shortly. I know they were trying to solicit some volunteers to help put the signs and the posts in place, but they've done a great job of pulling that together and jumping through all the hoops on that particular program. Parking program, Larry, you are our representative from PC Woods. Anything new on the PC parking program? I think there's a head shake. No. Okay. Um, they meet monthly on that, and that's the program that is looking at the parking that's going on, especially at the Cape, with the meters and collecting money in the Cape and the meter there at the turnaround. As we know, we are raising some monies, not to the level that the county had projected. Oh, there's that survival. There you go, Barbara. Nice. I like that. Tsunami survival instructions. All right. Cool. Yeah, we all know that the enforcement hasn't been what it needed to be. There has been tickets, apparently. The sheriff has jumped in on occasion on a couple of spot weekends and written some tickets there for parking. It's a pretty hefty fine, as I understand it. I think around $280 or something. They have come up with a sign that will tell you what the fee is or what the fine is, and they're supposed to be attaching those signs here shortly so that we can hopefully collect more money. And as it was communicated in the last year or so, most of that money is supposed to stay here in Pacific City, and we'll keep an eye on that and see if
Hey,
that
Bob,
the case.
Is there
Yes.
anything more on enforcement?
Yeah, well, no, the enforcement, Sheriff Brown, communicated at the meeting that he is short-staffed. And I think he also communicated at the chamber meeting as well. He is down, according to Sheriff Brown, he is down 7 sheriffs right now. And they're having a hard time hiring. He commented that the city of Portland is down 100 sheriffs. So it is a problem that everyone is dealing with. So he said writing parking tickets is not his priority, but he will certainly do their best when the sheriffs are in our area. And if they can slip away, he's worried that it takes about 20 minutes to 30 minutes to complete the parking ticket. And he believes they're short-staffed. So that's what I know. Is that what you heard at the chamber meeting as well?
Yeah, I see how easily they ticket in Salem and Portland, and I just don't understand why we can't do the same thing. I mean, it's actually a little scanner that scans the license
yeah.
plate.
Oh, yeah.
I just
I
don't
know.
understand it.
I don't either. Yeah, there was, up in Kirkland, I know they had a vehicle, that would drive through parking lots and just, scan license plates and things. And I mean, it can be somewhat automated, but I guess not for us right now, is what I am told. But I think they addressed the issue that the person writing tickets had to carry a gun. And I think they are changing the ordinance on that so that person doesn't have to, be licensed and carry, a gun and approved by the state. So hopefully we'll have somebody to address that shortly. Let's see what else. The last thing is, we talked about short-term rentals. We've talked about the transient lodging taxes. We've talked about a lot of things. I was going to have Sarah also just give us an update. A number of cities within the county are looking to incorporate and keep the money within the city instead of just sending it off to the state or to the county. Oceanside is one that is very far along in the process. They are trying to get it on the ballot in November to incorporate, and their goal then again was to keep the short-term rental fees and all the taxes and like I said, the transient lodging tax monies and anything else that's being derived within the city. They're moving along, and then as is again a part of that meeting, Nesquin has brought in some of the people from the Oceanside project, and they are also contemplating that as well. So just to give you an idea, people are looking at the monies that's being derived here within their cities, and thinking that they would like to keep that within their boundaries. So just a heads up, keep an eye on that one. Next up is a new project. So it's an important one here, I think, especially in Pacific City. And Kimberly Miller is working with another person as well, and they come up with the Pacific City Crime and Safety Task Force. And I was going to turn this over to Kimberly to give us a quick update.
Okay, thanks. Let's see here. Oh, the screen sharing has been disabled. Shoot. Okay.
Let's take a look at my screen share. Only one multiple participants. There you go. How's that?
Let me see. Yeah, there we go. Now if I can grab the right tab that I want. There we go.
All right.
Okay, so Pacific City Crime and Safety Task Force, and we have right now, if you see something, say something. And basically what's kind of gone on is Wendy Hay, and she is a business owner here in town. They own a Dory charter business. Contacted me, oh gosh, about almost a month ago now. Because she was concerned because we've had some rising crimes, particularly in some of the properties along the river. We've had some gas thefts just within the last couple days. We also had 2 business owners here in town attacked, physically attacked. And then some thefts, some pretty brazen thefts from about 4 different businesses. And this is alarming, especially when we call the sheriff's office and we get no response. We get a, we can't come down. You know, you're going to have to, you know, just submit a report. So on the advice of Doug Olson, who, if you've ever met Doug Olson, he is a wonderfully organized person. He said that we should form this task force and figure out what we can do as a community. If we can't rely on the sheriff's office, what can we do? So we came up with a mission statement. The mission of the Pacific City Crime and Safety Task Force is to enhance the quality of life in Pacific City and Woods by educating the community about crime prevention and safety, and by supporting crime prevention activities of the Tillamook County Sheriff's Office. The Neighborhood Watch is one part of our mission to improve community safety and cooperation in the See Something, Say Something campaign. And basically, Wendy was sort of the brainchild of that. And I don't know if she picked that up somewhere else, but if you see something going on, contact a neighbor or contact the sheriff's office non-emergency line and let them know. Okay, we have to start saying something. We also need to start generating data for South County that we need more sheriff protection down here. So let me I just kind of put this together this morning. After listening to Sheriff Brown, we have several issues. For one, he's understaffed. For 2, they're also underpaid. For 3, they have to prioritize citizen safety first. And yes, we do have some rising crime rates. So the understaffing issue is that they have 60 full-time employee positions allotted to the sheriff's office. 16 are not currently filled. So this translates to a critical staffing situation with 8 people short in the jail, 7 short on patrol, and 1 short in parole and probation. That means there's only 12 full-time staff members to cover the correctional facility, 19 full-time patrol staff to cover the entire 75 miles of the coastline and the 1,100 square miles of Tillamook County, with more than 55 calls for service every day. Basically, what's happening is they're getting emergency threat to life or accident or any kind of violence, that sort of thing. They're getting those calls and having to respond to them. He also went into details about how long it takes a deputy to write each of those up. and indicated that sometimes at night, we have only 2 deputies on patrol in the entire county. That's in 75 miles. So if one is clear up in Manzanita, the other one may be in Tillamook or Garibaldi, or, so getting here takes quite a while. One of our community members was attacked in her business, or at least threatened in their business. Another one attacked. And I don't know what the response time was, but as people that live here and love this location, we need to do something. So right now he's looking at ways to increase the compensation for deputies, which is currently the lowest for any law enforcement agency within our county, and surrounding counties of the sheriff's office. So what he said is the highest amount for the Tillamook County Sheriff's Office pay scale is the starting pay for deputies in surrounding counties. So we're not getting the applications we need. We also are, the applicants are washing out, as he says. They'll have something that comes up on their background check that washes them out. And then with the critical staffing issues, they have to respond to the calls that they get, prioritize them, which means anything that we call about in terms of traffic, the ATV that decided to drive up the Cape, some of these thefts and other issues are not going to be addressed by the sheriff's office. So this is why we're not getting a response. And he said that I couldn't get the numbers from him. He has not responded, but there are certain crime rates that are rising in South County. So we're concerned, what do we do? So obviously the issues with the sheriff's office are not going to be resolved anytime soon. And so Wendy Hay contacted me. We set up the task force. Our first meeting was May 9th. We had about a dozen local citizens attending, including Barb Taylor, Doug Olson, Dan Doyle. I noticed they're all here today. And after a listening session, the group decided that our concerns are really in 2 different areas. One, traffic. We have some real speeding issues on Bruton Road, and also on Cape Kowanda Drive, and then home and business safety. So our initial goals are to explore speed radar signs in key locations, whether we borrow that as the trailer from the county and put it there at key times, or actually go farther and see if we can fundraise to install some permanent ones. If any of you have been anywhere near North Lincoln Hospital, they have some of the permanent radar signs up, which posts the speed limit and then post your speed. And then it flashes when you go by. It does not ticket, it does not take tickets, but it does remind people to slow down, which I think after doing some research, we found 80% effective. Those are 80% effective. And then we thought, okay, the other thing we can do is keep all eyes on our properties around us. We'll start that neighborhood and business watch. There shouldn't be any reason why businesses feel like if there's only one person in the office, they have to lock the doors. Okay, we need to be able to help out with that. So we're thinking neighborhood watch. So we got to come together as a community. Our next meeting is June 7th, right after the Chamber of Commerce meeting at the Kowanda Community Center. You can contact me or Wendy Hay to get started with the neighborhood watch. We have a packet. We went to the national site and found that their pricing was a little expensive on their stuff. So we're kind of creating our own. And then if you see something, say something. Even if you don't want to call the sheriff's office, say something to a neighbor. Let somebody know that you've seen something makes you uncomfortable. Trust your instincts. Doesn't hurt to be wrong. Okay. And that's really what we're doing.
I think it's a great idea. It really is. I think it's really needed because, like you pointed out in the presentation, they're short staffed. And when you do call, it's going to be a luck of the draw if they happen to be in our area at all, whether they respond because of their staffing. So I think it's a great idea. I would even love to see, some signs, potentially in a neighborhood. Maybe that might deter it if they see those neighborhood watch signs posted.
Yeah, I think Steve Lasky is following up on that, finding us some signs. We just bought one off of Amazon and actually posted it at the end of our street.
Great idea.
And I'm the person for my street. Rupel is pretty long. So trying to get a hold of second homeowners and stuff is a little bit of a challenge. I have some secret ways to get information from the county. But
yeah, I think it's a great idea. Yeah.
And then the whole Sunny was just saying, without interfacing with law enforcement, that's the thing that we're going to have to do. We're going to have to start reporting everything,
Right.
even if they're not going to come out. We got to report it. They got to understand what our need is here.
Yep.
So,
I agree.
and then what did Sunny say here that, or no, this was somebody else. Oregon allows citizens to issue tickets even without interfacing with the driver. There are a few parameters, but that is what I think I saw. Can someone comment? And then also, I think it was Rebecca Haggerty that at the chamber meeting said that they had advertised for a parking ambassador for down at the Cape, and they can't get any applications. Nobody will apply.
I've heard that too. But it's interesting. There was a break-in on Sunset Drive, I think it was about 2 years ago. And if we have a good neighborhood watch program, we can kind of put all of our efforts and resources together. We were called, T and I were called by the sheriff's department to say, I understand that you have cameras on your exterior of our home. Can you help us and provide some footage? And I don't know how they got our name. Maybe it was through the security companies or whatnot, but it would be nice if we did have a neighborhood watch program in place. People knew that, so-and-so had a camera and so-and-so had, we could kind of piece stuff together that, we could make an impact. We could sit there and if there is issues, put our resources together and give that to the sheriff's department or whatever it is to follow up or whatever it may be. But I think that's a great idea. And sorely needed right now.
Sally?
Oh. You there?
Unmute.
There you go.
Nope, she's still muted.
You're still muted. Let me see if I can. I can't.
There you go.
There you go, Sally.
Got it. Thank you.
Were you going to say something?
No, my
No?
mistake.
Okay. All right. Very good. No, thank you, Kimberly, for that. And so June 7th there at the center, that would be well worth the meeting and the effort. Thank you for doing that. You can follow along. Like I mentioned to you, the county website has been updated with maps and applications. So I will put the URL. Actually, the URL is up there with one of the posts, the recent posts that shows how you can access that to see some of the other developments that are going on in our area. All right, let's take a look. Any special? Let's see. Is Chief Ader on by chance? Going to have him give us an update. I don't see. No. All right. Let's take a look. Reminder. All right. Next August or this coming August is the annual meeting for the election of new officers and committee members. We'd love to have more and more people, getting involved and participating, especially new blood. We'd love to have some new perspectives as well and what you're seeing and doing. Per the bylaws, any nominations need to come in 2 weeks prior to that meeting in August. So it's the third Saturday in August will be the annual meeting. So please send any nominations in to Kimberly Miller, who is the vice chair that handles the election process. And again, I encourage you to get involved, if not as an officer, then as a committee member or whatever it may be. But we would love to have more involvement. That's for sure. It's getting lonely out here. So, all right. Is there anything else for the good of the order? Anybody? I don't see any hands. Let me take a look. Let's go over to the other screen. No hands there. All right, I will go ahead and entertain a motion to adjourn. Anybody raise their hand and say, yeah, okay, motion. Thank you. We got a second, so we will adjourn this meeting and we will pick back up in August, unless, of course, there is a special meeting request. I believe we may see one of those coming up, especially when it comes to some work that's being done with FEMA and other things that is going to affect future development in Pacific City. They're recasting their flood zones and a few other things, and that's going to be a significant impact to our county, our city. So you may see a request from me for a special meeting prior to August. All right. Enjoy the sunshine. It's finally here after, gosh, I don't know how long has this been. It's been a crazy spring, but thank you all very much for joining us today. And we will be in touch. Take care.